Well, hello and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us for Eco Basics for Everyday Humans. Let's give it up for our panel. Woo! That's beautiful. Let's meet them now. Some of them are besties, some of them have only just met. So we'll work out who's who as we go along the way. They're not sitting in any particular order, so I'm going to start with surfer dude Rye Atkinson at the far end over there. Hello and welcome to Maroubra Beach, Rye. Is this your normal surfing patch?
Thanks so much for having me, guys. It's not. I'm actually from the northern beaches, so I've travelled over the bridge. No, it's beautiful today. Beautiful to be here.
All right. Well, thanks for not being in the water and for taking time out, because you're not here just as a surfer. You're a long time climate and humans rights advocate, but you are currently the head of campaigns for Surfers for Climate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was been at Amnesty for about 5 or 6 years, and then I just started with Surfers for Climate in January this year. So heading up their programs and campaigns. So it's been a really enjoyable 6 months.
Christmas parties would probably be better with Surfers for Climate.
They're a little bit more relaxed, yeah.
A bit more chill. Okay, so we're going to get and meet everyone properly in just a moment. This is just a bit of a name check. So next to Rye is Lottie Dell, and you may know Lottie from her book, which she's about to flog here, because why not? 365 plus ways to save the planet and your money at the same time. But Lottie, you're more than an author. You were a young New South Wales Person of the Year, and you started you started Brad, the recycling program, and also your platform Banish. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, thanks, Bernie. So Banish is an education platform that teaches people how to live more sustainably. It's for the everyday individual, all about how you can recycle right or compost or just in general reduce your consumption. And BRAD stands for the Banish Recycling and Diversion Program. So people send us their hard to recycle items in the post. We turn it into new things. So like carabiners or, I don't know, we've got some laptop stands, earrings, all of these different kind of funky things.
Wow,
so
great. So those carabiners, do they hold weight or are they more just
look,
like for...
You're not going to go rock climbing.
Okay, no, do not go rock climbing with the carabiners, all right? No, safety
they hold
first.
my water bottle. That's pretty heavy.
That's not bad, 1 kilo per litre. So, yeah, that's great. So we'll hear a bit more from Lottie in just a moment. Now, Naomi, oh my God, I wrote your name down on the wrong page. Tashish. Okay, Naomi Tashish. Now, Naomi, you founded Replated, which is an incredible story. Sorry, Replated? Yes. Yeah, Replated, which is an incredible story. And we'll get to that in just a moment. But it's a B Corp company, and you're also a leader at Bettison. And Bettison is working to make events like this a whole lot more sustainable. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yes. So Bettison, we also
we
also have Reusi. So some of the reusable cups and returnable plates and cups that you've got here today. Sorry.
Eat that ice cream.
Even closer.
Yeah,
I'm not eating
good.
an
That's
ice cream. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you've got the returnable cups or plates here today, that's our business, and we are helping to... There you go, there's one. We're helping to make this event as close to waste-free as we can. So when you are finished with them, you're putting them in the bin. You're not taking them with you. We've got the white bins over there with the Bettison and Reusi branding. And that really is a very fantastic
incredible
thing
because
to see you all using them in front of me while I'm talking about it.
That just looks like a chuck away single-use plastic.
Well, yes, because plastic does have its uses. It's lightweight, it's washable, it lasts for a really long time, as we know, because it's not particularly biodegradable.
So we know that one is going to be reused because it's got Reusi written on it.
It's got the Reusi written on it, and then the plates have Reusi, and the trays have got Bettison on them. So anything with either of those brands on there is something that can be washed and reused again and again. They're here for a long time and a good time.
And the Bettison system is what we're using today at the festival, and that's really helping to make things more sustainable here. future. Is this the biggest sort of trial of it that you've had so far?
I think we've done a lot of really great events. We did one night at HQ for Vivid this year, which was about 3,000 people. But I think with this insane weather today, I think we've sailed past that number.
All right. Well, I'm sure you'll give us some more tips on better eco-living with plastic as we get along during the panel. And finally here, we've got Mitch Burney. Who knows Mitch? Well, we all know Mitch, yeah. We've met Mitch for this panel. So Mitch has done a lot of work with Randwick Council and other places on you started Patch to Plate, which is all about growing your own food. And you've run a couple of workshops here this morning, and you've got another one coming up the Savo.
Yeah, so I was just over there doing pickling. So I do all about sort of the beginning to the end of growing your own food, teaching people. I used to run my own urban farm and then different projects, worked at council for a bit doing the permaculture gardens, and now just do home consultations. But for the last 2 years, probably more specific to what I'm going to be talking about today, is I've worked for a climate advocacy group, doing a lot of political and systems levels change work with home electrification, going from house to house, training up and trying to take government speak into everyday lives.
Please, thank you, because honestly, the confusion around batteries is massive at the moment. It's really daunting. So I hope if your workshop will be filled up by now, it'll all be...
Yeah, but I'm pretty chill with it. I think just grab a chair and come over.
Pretty chill, just
like it didn't
grab
cost
a chair
anything,
and
just
shop.
come and sit. I'm just going to talk at you.
And in fact, with any of the workshops today, even if they are sold out or booked out, just hang around and you'll be able to have a go at that. So give it up again for our panel. Rye, Lottie, Naomi and Mitch, yes. We've got the great outdoors and the big environmental impact here. We've got what we can do at home. We've got what businesses and communities can get onto, and we've got the whole electrification thing covered. So I reckon we're in a pretty good state to get started. Now, before we get going, I don't know if you all saw that last panel, but it's really great to hear the stories that people tell about what got them started on this journey. And I wonder if you can just hark back to... Was there a single moment or a single thing that really made you think sustainability? Well, first of all, I'll get you to tell me what sustainability means to you, but also what was it that got you so passionate about it that you've made it your life's work so far? Who wants to go first? You'll go first,
I'm happy
Naomi.
to go first. I think I'm very lucky because I was actually in this council area when I had my moment. I always describe it. I was a waste warrior my whole life. As a kid, I did Clean Up Australia Day. It was something I always cared about. But we were, I've got kids, and we were at Clovelly Beach watching someone get married, and they're like, "Oh, your kids are picking up rubbish." As we were doing the Take 3 for the Sea thing, and I realised like my kids were doing the same thing that I was doing, and that in the 20, 30 years since I was a kid, nothing had changed, and I realised that I wanted to do more and to actually help stop all that waste at its source. And I very much call myself a waste warrior. That's the place we come from.
Let's just take a moment to respect the Sky Warrior and not try and compete with it, because we want to hear what you're saying, Naomi. There we go.
Such a nice moment to pause as well.
Yeah,
Oh.
breathing is good.
That's me. So it was at Clovelly Beach, and I was sitting there, and I was like, no, I really want to do more than this, and that's what led me to reusable tableware.
Yeah, and
that's it.
It's great that you say that, because I remember someone saying, I think it was a marine scientist saying, if all you ever do is pick up plastic, all you'll ever do is pick up plastic, and there has to be more change than that.
I think there's so many parts to it, but part of it is I don't think everything should be on the individual.
No.
And while there are hundreds of things, literally, that you can do every day for the environment, I think it is a systems level problem, and we need to fix it as businesses, as communities, as councils, as a country. Those are the things we need. And so there is legislative change that needs to come and support all of this activity. But it is also, and so when we're warriors not just for ourselves, but we're for everybody.
And so sustainability in a nutshell?
Sustainability is about thinking about the future and the legacy that we want to leave our planet to our children and to everybody.
Great. Fantastic work, Naomi. Who wants to have another go there?
I can go. I don't think there was so much like a like a coming to God moment for me, I guess. I guess
Coming to Gore, did you say?
God.
Oh, I thought you meant like Al Gore's film.
No. Coming to Al Gore too. But I guess I grew up in a family that was conscious about these things, so I grew up. That was always instilled in me from a young age, and I think probably one of the first protests that I went to, sort of, by myself without my family taking me or anything like that was a climate protest, and I think that was probably sparked a little bit of motivation within me as well. And I think, when it comes to sustainability, I think, I would 100% support what you said there. Like, there is a million things, 365 if you want to count, to do, but I do really think it is a systems approach as well. And I think that, there's a lot of guilt and a lot of burden put on the individual when we're living within a system where it's almost, it's almost impossible for people to act in a certain way when we're working, these exceptionally long hours and we're having to do all these things. But I think sustainability, keeping that in mind, individual responsibility is still obviously a thing. But I think for me, sustainability is a little bit, it's more of a mindset for me really than individual sort of things you can do. Like, no one's going to be perfect. You might have forgotten your keep cup and really need a coffee, and that's okay.
Don't beat yourself up about it.
Don't beat yourself up about it. But it's sort of a mindset of saying, okay, I'm going to be aware that the things I do have an impact. I need to be conscious of that, and I need to try and limit that where I can.
Yeah.
And I think that mindset will serve you well.
I think so too. I don't know if any of you saw the conversation just before this, but Damon Gemmo was saying about how the corporations have been very busy trying to push the responsibility back onto consumers for decades, and it's just so unfair. So I think every time you forget your keep cup, just say to yourself, at least I'm not the chairman of Woodside, okay? Just at least I'm not destroying the Northwest Shelf. I'm just doing my bit. Also, as someone who was raised Catholic, I can tell you right now, guilt does not work as a motivation strategy. So, go for the positives. Lottie.
I think my kind of aha moment, you could call it, actually came off the back of a New Year's resolution, which I know is very surprising because often they don't work. But I do have a New Year's resolution that was successful. That year I did make about 6 others that didn't happen, like to run a half marathon and become fluent in Spanish. But one of them was to do better for the planet, because it was 7 years ago when we were starting to see the news headlines with turtles with straws up their noses or seabirds with fish in their stomachs. And I went, well, I know that I could probably be doing a little bit more than I'm already doing when it came to the planet, but I didn't really know what that looked like. And when I started kind of putting the steps of my New Year's resolution into play or practice, it was really difficult. It was really hard to find credible information on how you could do more. It was hard to access brands and products that were actually good for the planet. I bought a set of stainless steel straws from a company that I thought was doing the right thing for the planet, and they arrived individually wrapped in plastic in the mail. So I kept on hitting all of these barriers and these challenges, and I was working as a journalist at the time, and I was used to kind of pulling out big studies and statistics in health and fitness and make it so easy for people so that there was no reason for them not to live more healthy. But when it came to sustainability, nobody was talking about it. And I believe that in order for sustainability to kind of come up and be this big trend, it needs to become mainstream. So I decided to make Banish as a way to make it so that people can take those small, simple steps. It's not about being perfect, like we've all said. It's about doing a couple of things that will make an impact and make a really big difference. And I think that we just need this information to be out there, readily available for people.
And I think as well as information, you hit on the other thing, which is about making it normal, like making it something people talk about. And this kind of event, these kind of community gatherings really help with that. Mitch, you've had a bit of a journey because you were all about permaculture and now you're electrification. So tell us what you think, what sustainability means to you.
I've kind of gone back to permaculture, to be honest, because it makes me happier. But no, I used to work doing community engagement for a not-for-profit, and maybe like 8 or 9 years ago, and it was like a pre-COVID world where you couldn't work from home really, it wasn't a thing. So the Wi-Fi went down in the office one day for like 3 days, and I just felt so bloody useless. I was like, I cannot do my job without Wi-Fi. And I was like, I need to get some hard skills, like ASAP. I was like, geez, my productivity to the world has got to work beyond Wi-Fi. So I went and learned how to grow
You are
food.
apocalypse ready. Yeah.
We keep that quiet, but yeah, if you need help. Yeah, so I just went and sort of just like learnt it, and then eventually built my own not-for-profit running an urban farm and fermentation, and got into that and got really into like the individual homes. And I think everyone who starts in permaculture and growing food, you get to a point where you're like, yeah, compost is great, tomatoes are awesome, but I was always very cynical of sort of climate action on a larger level, just because it felt so, honestly, it just felt so beyond me and anyone, until I read Saul Griffith's book about rewiring the country. It's called The Big Switch. If you haven't read it, and basically I just become a homeowner for the first time, and I read this book, and I was like, oh my God, there's an answer that like feels really, really practical, feels really, really capable, and my little boy brain as well was ticking in this engineering mind of like, oh, toys in the home that can do things, and look at the app, I've got my solar panels doing, I know when you turn the kettle on. That got me really excited, and eventually moved me into the advocacy path to really take that journey into the systems level. And then it weighed on my soul so much, and now I help people grow food again. But I'll talk about electrification today. And sustainability, I don't know, pretty much whatever that they've said, really. It's living within your means, I guess. I think of it like through the lens of an economy as well. It's like if you take in X amount of dollars as a country and you spend more, it's not very sustainable. It's kind of basic. And if you think of the world that way, with resource and the way we live, just living within the means of what we
Wow,
actually
living
have.
within your means. That's
Yeah.
a nice
Not just
synopsis.
fiscally, I mean like everything, yeah.
Yeah. And what was that you just said? No. I'm just really glad also in hearing all this that we're obviously a safe space for nerds like me. So thank you. Whether it's the toys, whether it's the cleaning up, whether it's the dagging New Year's resolutions, or actually surfing doesn't sound nerdy at all. Sorry, Rye, but I'm sure we'll draw some nerdism out of you. So we're going to look.
I do love Lord of the Rings. So
Okay, I take it back, 100% nerd. That's excellent. So we're going to look at food and household habits first as a bit of a kicking off point. Then we'll go bigger environmentally, and then we'll talk more about repowering our lives, and then mash all that together towards the end. So Naomi, if we can just get really practical, because this is better living for regular human beings, eco basics for human beings. What is one small change that a household can make this week that would have the biggest impact on reducing food waste?
Well, if you live in Randwick Council and you have a FOGO bin,
Yeah.
I think, ultimately understanding what goes into that bin and really thinking about that is incredibly important. I think, we can all talk about, switching products and things like that, but really it's also about starting where you are. It's not about, it's not about anything else, but thinking about there's sort of effectively 3 types of food waste. You have your plate waste from when you don't finish your food, that goes straight in the FOGO. When you're prepping waste, straight in the FOGO. And the other one, I think it's the hard one, is really...
Just take a moment,
Sorry.
Naomi. We're all
It's
thinking
always
about...
me.
Don't take it personally. Yeah, I reckon you can rock that.
is the spoilage. So
Okay,
they're
so
the
plate
3.
waste, food waste, and spoilage.
Plate
No.
waste, prep waste, and spoilage. Those are the 3 types of food waste. And to some degree, the plate waste and the prep waste are a little bit easier. Spoilage it can be harder. And actually, my number 1 top tip for that, avoiding that, is to do 2 things. One is to meal plan, if you can, if you've got the time to do that. And even if it's just 1 or 2 days, and looking also, the other one, before you write your shopping list, actually going to your fridge and seeing what's in it.
Let me write this down. That's a whole new way of working.
I mean, those are not the only things. They're not necessarily the ones you would jump to think about.
Yeah.
But actually, if you do those 2 things, you will automatically reduce your waste. And I'll give you an example. I just wrote my shopping list. I didn't look in the fridge when I did I planned my meals, but I didn't go and look in the fridge, and I put eggs on the list. And I went back and when I put the eggs in the fridge, there were 8 there already. So we've now got 20 eggs this week.
That's worth about $700
It is
right
a lot,
there
right?
in your fridge right now.
Totally. And what I also do is leave a night free for when I do this. So on Thursday we're having omelettes for dinner.
Oh, so you don't plan? So you just make an omelette with whatever you've got left in the fridge?
I have a few leftover. I have got lots of leftover ideas, but I have what we call a refrigerator soup in the winter. We love
Beautiful.
a refrigerator soup, but now we're transitioning out of refrigerator soup season and into refrigerator omelette and salad season.
Beautiful.
Definitely.
And if you love the cooking with leftovers whole setup, there's going to be an entire demo with 2 world-beating chefs at 2 p.m, I think,
It is,
right here.
and one of them is my co-founder, Julian, and he works with us on Betterzen. So him and Trav are going to sit here and teach you guys how to do some really fun things with your leftovers that are tasty and terrific.
Beautiful. And while we're just on Betterzen and we talked about how to wash these things up, there's also, as well as just feeling great about what you're doing, there's an actual reward for putting your Betterzen and reusey objects in for rewashing. There are some fairies, very well-dressed fairies, going around, green fairies, who are giving away $20 spoons from Oz Harvest. So beautiful reusable spoons. So that's a little incentive to get anyone who finishes their plate and puts it in for washing up to get them going on that. Okay, thanks so much, Naomi. That was brilliant. Lottie, Naomi was talking about getting the FOGO bins right, but a lot of us get confused about what can and can't be recycled. So can you just give us the rundown on, or I guess, 3 myths that we really that are really well spread about recycling?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's hard to answer because everybody comes from different council areas and everyone has different bins.
Let's start with Randwick.
Yeah, okay. So in general, I would say that things that are smaller than a credit card can't go in your recycling bin. So
Hang on a minute, milk lid?
no, not when it's loose. So if your milk lid is attached to the bottle still, then it's fine. But if it's loose, then it cannot be recycled. So we need to think about the size. We also need to think about recycling ultimately as a resource game. So the better quality the material you put in the recycling bin, the more likely it's going to be turned into something that's of high value. So if you've got a old, pad thai, the recyclers at Randwick City Council, they don't want to eat your leftover pad thai. Surprising. So you need to empty it out, give it a rough rinse, and then you can pop it into your recycling bin. And I think the last one would be, I see this happen all of the time. People do the right thing, they sort everything out, and then they put it into a big plastic bag, and they put that plastic bag into the recycling bin. It is like tripping at the finish line. You were so close, you've done everything so right, but what happens is when it gets to the resource recovery facilities, they see a big plastic bag and they just go, oh well, landfill. And all of that hard work is quite literally undone, but also the plastic bags can get tangled in recycling facilities and they have to stop production and stop everything because of this pesky bag. So smaller than a credit card, can't be recycled, nice and clean, and then also no plastic bags, please.
Well, you said it was hard to answer, but you have just nailed that. Thanks very much, Naomi, Lottie, for giving us the do's and don'ts on recycling there. And just while we're looking at packaging and food waste, which between you, Naomi and Lottie, which do you think is a bigger problem, or is it not a competition?
Technically speaking, if you're looking from a carbon emissions perspective, food waste is going to have a bigger impact on the planet. So that would be something, but por qué no los dos? Why not do both? Reduce your
you
consumption.
Did learn Spanish.
I know.
She learned Spanish.
Yeah, please don't talk to me in Spanish, anybody else. That was the extent of it.
So hang on, I missed what you were saying because I don't speak Spanish.
So that was why not do both?
Okay,
so
why not?
Food waste is going to be technically better for your carbon emissions, but I think we can kind of in this day and age use the FOGO bin, but also reduce our consumption of plastics too.
Totally. And did you want to add anything, Naomi?
No, I totally agree with that.
Okay.
It's definitely food waste is so much more than you think. It's both heavy and dense, and it creates a lot of methane in landfill. So we
Yes.
really want that in that bin. That's
Totally.
very much the message.
Go Fogo. Go Fogo. All right. And now, Rye, just hearing this bit of talk about plastics is a great chance to bring you into the conversation. I mean, we all know, we all keep hearing the dreadful stats about ocean plastics, and in 2050 there'll be more plastic than fish in the sea, which is heartbreaking. You know, looking at plastic waste here and plastic recycling, and, you know, we hear about plastic bags and straws, single-use plastics, but what's the real biggest source of ocean plastic or ocean waste that people should know about?
Yeah, I mean, I think going to that question on recycling, like I remember back when I was younger, I lived in I guess an apartment above a surf factory, and I don't think it was really legal that you were allowed to live there.
You are pathologically cool, sorry.
Believe me, I'm not. I'm really not. But at this place, I don't think you could really live there, so they didn't do the recycling stuff. So I remember I used to, you know, I was at uni and, you know, I was learning about all these huge issues when it comes to waste and plastic and recycling. So what I used to do is I used to have a bucket that I used to fill up with all my recycles, and then every week I would drive down to the beach and sort it into the recycling at the beach, which is like, you know, you think you're doing all these amazing things, and then, you know, you hear that only a small percentage of the things that we put into the recycling bin are actually getting recycled. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about that systems approach, where, you know, individuals can do all this work, do all these things that are really good. And I'm not saying don't do them. I still think 100% you should do them. But if the system isn't set up in a way to support that, you know, a lot of that time and energy is being, you know, not wasted, but not put to good use. So
do it, but vote and protest as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But when it comes to the ocean, like, it is plastic. Plastic is the issue. Like, yes, your plastic bags, maybe your straws, those are the things that are more visible. But there are microplastics that are breaking down that are going into our ocean. It is a huge issue. By 2060, plastic use is set to triple at current trends if we don't do something about it. And it is literally choking our ocean. It is literally choking our ocean. You know, just a few weeks back, we had, you know, there were negotiations around a plastic treaty, and we were meant to arrive at a sort of decision that was not just about recycling, you know, which again is important, but it was going to talk about consumption as well, and production and consumption. Like, yes, it is fantastic to recycle and reuse where possible, but we do actually need to bring down the level of plastic that we're using. And, you know, the reality is those talks were completely railroaded by petrostates like Russia, like Saudi Arabia. And when we're talking about the distinction between food waste and plastics, we've also got to remember that plastics are where these petrostates are looking at future profits. Like, it's oil, it's fossil fuels. Like, we often think of plastic as a waste issue, which it is, but it's also a climate issue. Like, this is where these states are saying, okay, if everyone's moving away from fossil fuels more generally as an energy source, where can we put this product? Well, we're going to put it into plastic. So it is honestly one of the biggest issues we're facing as a society. Australia, you know, is, when it comes to, I guess, the world stage, advocating for good policy, that they were on the good side of this debate when it came to, you know, when it came to states. But, you know, if we're not going to be able to negotiate these agreements at an international level, nothing's stopping us from doing something at a domestic level as well. So, you know, the government can put things in place today to limit production, to cap consumption, better recycling. That can all happen at a domestic level.
Great. And just because we are not members of government here, just to bring it back to what we can do, you know, I don't live at the beach, but what can people who live near the coast or further inland like me, what can we do to help stop the plastic ocean situation? Is it do we just say no to plastic in as much as possible?
Look, you know, there's those individual choices where if you can make a decision to you bring your keep cups, say no to the plastic straw, like those things matter. So 100% do that. Beach cleanups, they're always important. If I'm walking on the beach, if I'm coming out of the surf, I see stuff floating past me, I'll put it in my wetsuit and take it in. But for me, the most important thing you can do, and this is what I'll say to all of my friends who, sometimes would be like, oh, I can't be bothered. Like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, You're still going on about that. I say, if you're not going to listen to anything I say ever, like, just do something at the ballot box. Like, that is, if you don't live at the coast and you want to stop plastic production, if you never want to pick up a piece of plastic in your whole life, like, use your vote at the ballot box wisely and, vote for candidates who are putting forward climate and waste policy that aligns with your values.
All right, yeah, and Mitch is gagging to add something to that.
I 100% agree with that, but it goes also beyond like the ballot box, because I had this great quote from someone that said, "Don't change who you vote for, like change who you vote for." If that makes sense, like you don't look like it makes sense. Okay, so it's like saying if you
don't vote for someone different, change the person you vote for.
So that's advocacy, right? That's like don't forget that the politicians work for us, and that so if you still want to vote a certain party because there's multiple things that matter to you, and 90% fits with that party, you don't have to say give up all of that to vote for a different party, but that person has to listen to you, and they do listen to you, and the more people that are listening to them, democracy doesn't end at the ballot box, which is just the next iteration of that it's not just once every couple of years you do something, it's shifting those parties to better things with.
Has anyone here ever spoken to their local member about an issue they cared about? Oh, okay. Well, good on you. It's a difficult thing to do. It can be confronting and challenging. What was the response? Yeah, it was good. You've seen changes. You've got to keep on doing it. Yeah, okay. Never give up, comrade.
And can I just add to that as well? Like, I've worked in government relations through different roles that I've done as well, and never underestimate how desperate politicians are to talk to their local community. Like, you would think like people, you'd think by their social media and by the way that they talk that they're meeting with people every day and they've got hundreds of meetings with community. They don't, because most people are disengaged. If you engage with your local member and talk to them, they'll listen because they don't get it that much. Like, really, it is something worth doing.
So they're lonely and they need
They're lonely and they want to look cool.
Lonely and desperate, and yeah, they really need us in their photo ops. Yeah. Okay. So Mitch, I love how you picked up on that, but we want to move now to powering our lives, and I know you're transitioning away from that a bit, but you've still got all the expertise. So electrification is a huge thing from Saul Griffith and from the worldwide trend in the last 20 years. We are at a position where it's never been supposedly more affordable, easier to fully electrify our homes, but it can be really daunting. Where is an easy step that you would suggest for people to get started on their electrification?
So the easiest thing, there are definitely a couple of... I'll just clarify what I mean when we say electrification, because it can be a term that a lot of people have heard before, but maybe not fully understand. Basically, when we say home electrification, we're talking about the energy that powers your home effectively. Most homes are powered by a combination of electricity and gas. Gas is obviously a fossil fuel. Don't be fooled by the name natural gas. There's nothing particularly good about it. It's a fossil fuel. And so and then the other end is electricity, and most people's electricity would be coming from coal burning. Even though a really great stat that around 45% almost of our grid in the eastern seaboard is actually filled with renewables, which when you ask people, they often think it's like, 5, 10, probably 0.
It was 10% 20 years ago, so it has been a great growth.
And it's exponentially growing, we're talking about and obviously the prices are going up as coal is being phased out because they're very expensive to run those machines. So we're talking about how do we transition our homes to be more energy efficient, running on clean energy through solar panels and batteries, and therefore bringing the cost down of your energy bills. So that's what we're talking about when we say home electrification. And one of the easiest things you can do is educate yourself, I guess, but that's like kind of hard to do on your own because a lot of things going on in your life and you're thinking about 1,000 things, and this one is going to cost you a few $1,000s, and it's easier just to say, nah. not going to think about it. So a simple way is there are a few look, council is a great place for for information, and there are plenty of people in the sustainability team here in Randwick that would love to talk to you about it. There's quite
And talk. But they're great.
And I wonder who you're talking about. But and then there's also a few not-for-profits popping up as well that are starting to sort of take people on the journey from beginning to end. So things like Goodbye Gas is one that I've worked with in the past, and there's a few others that I can't think of right now their names, but definitely look into. I mean, Bright is a great one as well, that they help finance it as well with 0% interest loans on
So
things.
talking to people is where you'd recommend people start, or is there an action?
So the short answer is educate yourself and talk to people to do that. Because you've got to understand, before you spend thousands on your home, it's effectively a renovation. You've got to really know and understand. But just remember, it'll save you thousands over the journey.
And always get more than one quote. Get 3 quotes. Always get 3 quotes. Don't go with the first guy out of the blocks.
Yeah, but even that, like, you want to do, like, if you're going to do 5 different things to your home and get 3 quotes from each thing, that's like 15 meetings. I mean, who's got time for that?
I know, that is a
So you've got to find those
full-time job.
companies that are going to take you on that journey, and they'll help you.
Okay, so if we're going to scale it back a bit, just so there was something practical and easy, like once you've spoken, you're educating yourself about, electrification, what have you. What's one simple change that people can make right now?
So it's always a debate between, do you put solar first, or do you put all the appliances in your home that will benefit from the solar first? And it kind of depends on your home, to be honest. But finding that answer out, I know you can get... I'm not going to say that. Okay, so look, effectively it's start with solar panels. If you've got a home that can house it, definitely start with some solar panels and the battery. There's a great battery rebate scheme at the moment, massive uptake, billions of dollars from the federal government to help you do that. And there's also, if you live in Randwick, there's also a massive, massive rebate scheme as well, which you should look into on the council website. And you can save, again, thousands of dollars on your solar panels, on your batteries, but definitely solar panels, I think, to start is the way to go.
And I'm just going to chop in there. If you're a renter or if you don't have the money for solar panels or anything, one option which I loved was the portable induction cooking plate available at IKEA for $50, or they've got some better quality ones here that are being given away when you do the survey. That's one of the prizes. Just click on that QR code down there about the Eco Living Festival, and you can win an induction cooktop. So it's a easy way of dipping your toe in the water and seeing what cooking with induction is like.
Yeah, and I'll say on induction quickly, it's one of the lowest sort of emissions that you're going to produce. So the household, you're not going to save that much from using induction, to be honest. But about 1 in 10 of all childhood asthma is directly attributed to cooking with gas in the home. It's the equivalent of kind of smoking in the car when it comes to childhood asthma. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy that as a society we're like, let's just burn gas in our home and just hope that it doesn't go into our lungs. So, again, public health, cost of living. Climate change doesn't have to be this moral, and action doesn't have to be this like moral superiority thing. It can be a financially responsible decision and a health.
And it shouldn't be
choice as
our
well.
problem anyway. We're not the ones who created it. It was
Gas?
the system. Oh no, I mean just the anyway. Sorry, I'm on
Yeah,
my
no, for sure.
climate.
Yeah, we could,
Just buying off from the making people feel guilty again. Yeah, no, it's not on.
I also think I'd like to add, so I've been rereading my books, it's been a while since I read it, but a lot of people actually have their fridge and freezer set to the wrong temperature. So by changing that, which is something that everybody in the crowd can go and do, not only are you going to let your fruit and veggies last for longer, but it's also going to help with your energy consumption too. So your freezer should be at about -18.
Yep.
And then your fridge should be at about 4 degrees.
4 degrees
Yeah.
in the fridge, -18 in the freezer. Say it
And
with
adding-
me.
Huh?
What temperature in the freezer? -18, and the fridge.
Oh, you can. I was going to
4
say,
degrees
Yeah.
Celsius. Thanks very much. Yeah, beautiful. Yep.
And just on that as well, speaking of temperatures, also one of the biggest things that'll mess up your energy bill is heating and cooling your home. It's the biggest one. So many people have their aircon set way too cold and the heating set way too high. I mean, you can have your aircon set at like 24, 25 and it'll be like really nice. And even your heating can be set at kind of 22. It doesn't have to be at 26, but like 22, even lower is kind of okay.
We had the same thought at the same time. And the other place, not just in the home, I would also very much say in your cars as you're driving around. you do not need it. You do not need
Fridge
it
temperature.
at 18 or 17. 24 is good. 20, in the car maybe a little bit less if you want, and on a very hot day. But really, that's going to have a big impact.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Bill, every degree of extra is an insane amount of energy. Just a simple degree. When it comes to what your house is.
Yeah, I think it's also a big
going with this.
misconception. When we were growing up, we were always told it was 23 degrees throughout every single season. You need to keep your thermostat at, and it's going, well, no, our air conditioning can be different. But I also think when it comes to your homes, it's looking at the natural airflow too. It's not turning on the air conditioning or the heating just because of it. It might be taking off a layer. It might be, closing up a door or using cross ventilation. I think so much can be done with what we've already got.
Yep. Naomi?
I had an energy. I was just actually talking about this before. I had an energy assessment of my home done a while ago, and the big area, because we have got panels already and a battery, which has been a huge cost saver. But the thing they picked up really was on that energy leakage as well. So that's another one that's probably pretty simple, which is looking at your windows and your doors and making sure that they're sealed well, because they're actually keeping that heat or the cool in summer. That helps the ambient temperature in the house sort of stay at that steady rate, and it means that you need to consume less energy. So it's actually quite a good one.
I am
think.
loving this rapid fire round of quick tips. Did you want to chuck something into the mix, right?
I just feel very targeted about the car aircon because I think I think I drove over here with it on about 18 or 19. So I'll take that tip.
But when you drive back, it's going to be different.
on the trip home, what temperature are you going for?
Did we have one for
24.
the car? 24.
Or just
Jeez.
none at all.
No,
Okay, not at all. Windows down.
Windows down is good,
Right,
but I
you
will.
can do what you want.
I was actually gonna throw him a bone though. Or do you want to hear my bone? Put it down, cool it down, but then put it up a bit. So don't keep it at that temperature. I think, I especially on a really hot day when you've been out working on your Sunday and you really feel like you need it. It's like anything, right? We all have that role to play. I think it's not keeping it at that temperature.
Okay, we are running out of time rapidly. Did anyone have a burning question? Otherwise, I am just going to get our panellists to go through, and if you can think of one more thing that you would encourage people to do. If there's something you've been bursting to say or share, don't make it up, make it fact. Yeah. If there's one more thing you want to add.
I can stick with my theme of the bigger picture as well.
Yep.
I think, I spoke about voting. I think the other thing that people can do, and it is a little bit of an effort, but it's not too much, I hope, is look at your finances. Look at the bank that you're currently with. Are they subsidising fossil fuel projects? Switch your bank if you can. It's really easy. There's a couple of awesome banks out there. I'm with Bank Australia. It's super easy. It's a lot easier than you think it is. Open the bank account, transfer your money across, close the account, and call that bank and tell them, I've just closed my account because of your climate policies. That's one really easy thing to do. The second one is your super. That's where most people's money is. So look at your super account, your super provider. Again, are they subsidising fossil fuel projects? Are they investing in fossil fuel projects? There's a lot of awesome super companies out there as well that don't do that. So those are two things in the finance space that you can do.
And I would just add to that, the thing that makes it even easier is that there are websites like Market Forces that actually spell out which banks invest and which banks don't invest in fossil fuels, and the same for super. So great tips there for making those changes, which can seem daunting, but it's great to have those easy first steps. Lottie?
Well, I've got over 365 ways, but I think...
one way would be to buy your book.
One way would be to buy the book, which we have for sale. We've got a shop here, which is just down the end of this first row. But I think for me, it would be... there's so many different things. I think a big part of recycling that people don't understand is that the real recycler, the people purchasing products made from recycled materials. The only reason we can recycle materials is when there's a demand for that end product. So it's really important when you are tossing up between a virgin plastic product and a product made from recycled plastic. If you can choose that product made from recycled plastic, you're making an impact and you're also not supporting the fossil fuel industry. If we've got plastics that already exist, we want to keep them in circulation, so that would be my tip.
I feel like you might know a little something about that, Naomi.
I do, but I wasn't going to talk about
Okay.
that. I was going to make my tip. I'm going to make it very much about time and place here. If there is one thing that you do today, it is please return your cups and plates into the bedders and bins. We love being here. It's wonderful, but it works when you give them back so that we can use them next time.
Yep, fantastic. And Bedison does make their products from reclaimed ocean plastic waste. That's
That's replated. Yes.
That's exactly right. That's replated, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to really hammer that message home. Yeah. Mitch.
I don't know. It's not so much like a practical tip. It is, but it's like find your community, build your community. I think like knowing your neighbors, knowing the people that you live around, knowing who comes to things like this is like really. You talk about building resilient communities in the face of the challenges to come. Knowing your neighbor, knowing who's on your street, who you can rely on, who you can share things with, knowledge, information, resources goes a really, really, really long way, more than individual choices that you can be making around where you put what in what bin. Not that it's not important, so I don't mean to be dismissive, but like, it's not so much a tip, but I look into the future of the challenges ahead, and I know that stronger communities that know each other are going to be the better off communities. So whatever form that looks like, whether it's a local sports club or your local permaculture garden or your local recycling group, surf club, whatever it is, like the broader your network of like people you can rely on and trust, the more just the better I think it's going to kind of be for sustainability.
Sorry, I'm going to jump in there as well because we have a community volunteering program with Brad, and if you are looking to find a community who cares about sustainability, we have groups that come in twice a week. We're at Central Station. So if you want to find people, have a chat with people, connect with people, it's a really great community.
Anyone else need to plug anything quickly?
No plug, but I'll say another tip is also just be kind to yourself and to others when you talk about this, because nothing I think kills anybody's motivation to do anything is being shamed into anything. It's a big world, there's a lot of things going on, and just be kind to yourself and to others, and your ability to effectively change and impact, I think, grows exponentially with like genuine kindness and listening.
Oh my
I
God.
love that song.
I think that is so beautiful. And doesn't that just show how much this movement has changed in the last 20 years, that the focus now is not on doing the right thing and being seen to do the right thing and pointing out what's wrong, but on growing community, on being connected with other human beings and sharing values. Fantastic. I could not have predicted that from this panel. So thank you so much. That's just beautiful. You've all been uplifting and heart